I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, February the 26th, brought to you in part by Zactran. Stress opens the gate for bovine respiratory disease. Slam it shut with Zactran. Be sure to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit with your BI representative. Low morale, and that is a sad thing. But I tell you what, visiting with some cattle feeders from the northern plains and the Midwest, I've never really seen the morale as low as I saw it on Thursday. And everything's just been lining up for higher fat cattle prices. They thought they would be able to hold their ground and get a little bit more for the money for their cattle, and they just can't do it. We've been looking at a premium. As you go on out on your futures market, we've been looking at an April that's been well into the 120s. Guys were thinking they could shoot this thing towards the end of February up close to 120, and they just won't allow it to happen. A lot of the guys are falling for basis bids, and they hate to do that, but they've got to survive. They've got to try to make some money. But they're looking at basis bids for plus $2 June board, which is sitting at 119.50. That's as much as they're going to get. Nobody can really fathom getting a cash spot market cash fat cattle bid of 120 or better, and you can't blame them. They just can't see it. And so they've really been down, and the guys were down on Thursday. I tell you what. Continuing to get bids of 114, and that's all. And they've got mud on their cattle. They've been fighting right after a bad storm and everything. Still looking at 180, 182, mostly 182. But if you figure that back on a 62% dress or whatever, it's not good. And the morale is really down for the guys. Tell you what, we have got to get minimum negotiated cash trade in your fed cattle arena, and if we don't get it, we might as well just throw in the towel, guys. And I know a lot of you guys that watch this are just raising calves or background in yearlings or something like that, but if we lose our fat cattle price, we've lost everything, and it's looking like that. Your packers have a ton of cattle already contracted for March, April, and May. Going forward, it just doesn't look good to ever get this thing going any better. And they've got everything going their way. They've been able to hold the wholesale beef market pretty high through February, which is normally the worst time of the year to do it. And we don't want them to have a bad wholesale beef market. We just want them to share a little bit of it. With choice cuts on your wholesale beef, 240 plus, we should be looking at a fat cattle market well above 120, and they absolutely will not share it. And unless somebody does something, we've got to get something done here with this minimum negotiated cash trade. And it's really a sad deal here, and the guys are just fighting and fighting and fighting, but when the morale is low and guys get down and they just kind of give up on the deal, that's when you're done, and I think we're about there. And what are we going to do going forward here? But when guys' morale gets down, it's a sad situation. Let's look at your board. For Thursday, February live cattle futures up 42 cents at 117 even, working with a 114 market. Got a $3 base there, and we're at the tail end of the spot market there. Look at April down 55 cents at 121.67. We're never going to get 120 plus. That's just an oasis out there. A mirage. It's not going to happen. Going out from there, we're down 60 cents to up just 7 cents. Look at your feeder cattle futures. March feeder cattle up 5 cents at 140.42. April's up 32 at 145.07. Going out front on your feeder cattle up 25 cents to up 62. And Our feeder cattle have been pretty positive, and we know we got lighter numbers of feeder cattle out there, lighter supplies going forward, and some of your cow-calf producers, your backgrounders that raise those yearlings, that they're kind of liking these prices out there. But when you look at the fat cattle trade, that's our market out there, is your fat cattle trade. Everything else is a derivative, and when they can't get anything for the fat cattle, we're all sunk. But look at the fat cattle that continued to trade on Thursday. We had some trade on Wednesday, had some more trade on Thursday, but still not looking at big movement there. Iowa, 3,300 head confirmed on Thursday, only 5,900 head for the week so far, which is nothing. And your spread on live steers and heifers from 112 and a quarter to 117. We saw some, I don't know if you can call it significant, but we saw some trade at 115 and a half to the regionals, but we're losing our regionals. We don't have that many regionals left. Our big four have kind of engulfed them and taken some of them over, and some out of the country inners have come in and took those over, and so we're not long lived for regional packers, although we're trying to get more and we're trying to build more packers, but the ones that we've seen that have been built or in the building process since the first start of the pandemic, they're not big enough to compete, not big enough to really change the price. Dress price 179 to 182. Nebraska 6,300 head there on Thursday, 10,500 head for the week. All your live sales at 114 and dress sales from 181 to 182. That's just steady. Kansas only 600 head on Thursday, 2,500 head for the week in Kansas. That is pitiful. 114 and 182 on a few dress sales. Texas had one load of cattle it sold confirmed on Thursday, 3,700 head for the week. These are all big enough to trip all those triggers with NCBA or whatever organization you want to talk about trying to pursue some kind of a mandated minimum negotiated cash trade. But they're so much influenced by the big packers and your big corporate feeders that they just won't step out and try it. But a few sales in Texas at 114 on mixed cattle. They'll buy the mixed crap at 114, which is the market, rather than push the market on some better cattle. Box beef cutout values trickle lower there, but choice cuts on Thursday still over 240 at 240.39, down just 36 cents. Selects at 228.79, down a buck. Look at your slaughter, pretty impressive slaughter for the week, 483,000 through Thursday. That is up 97,000 compared to last week with all the shutdowns due to the winter storms. And it's down just 3,000 from the same week a year ago. I tell you what's frustrating is your actual slaughter information come in for the weekend in February the 13th, and our average dressed steer carcass weights are still the same at 919 pounds on an average dressed steer carcass weight. That is huge. Now, by the time we get into the next week, we're going to be getting into those storms. It's bound to go down a ton. I know we didn't have a lot of slaughter there, but that average dressed steer carcass weight is bound to go down a ton. But it's sitting up there at 919 for the week ending February the 13th. Let's look at some of your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index, 138.17, down 37 cents. And I know, once in a while we can get some 800-pound steers bringing 140, but on the average it just won't quite do it. Talk about some of your big sales. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas had 4,700 head. Mostly higher, but they had a limited comparison because of the light receipts that they had on the last sale, but still a pretty good sale. Pratt Livestock, Winter Livestock and Pratt, 4,900 head, slightly lower on feeders. Stockers were sharply higher. We've seen that where they had bigger runs in the Southern Plains. Everybody wants some stocker cattle, but the feeding type cattle were slightly lower. But a stick out sale out of Pratt Livestock was 63 head 836-pound steers at 140.85. Ogallala Livestock, Ogallala, Nebraska, 4,000 head there. Steers weighing over 800 pounds, they called $4 higher. Other weights of steers and heifers from steady to as much as $8 lower, but still stick out deal than it was on the weights over 800 pounds out of Ogallala. But 136 head, 809-pound steers, Ogallala, Nebraska, bring 143.50. That is about as high as we've seen all week long or for a while on some big feeding steers. How about some individual quotes? Mitchell Livestock, Mitchell, South Dakota, 71 head, 956-pound steers, bring 132. That's a pretty stick-out deal there. But Greg Arndt there in Valentine, Nebraska, sent me some quotes out of Valentine on Thursday. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How about Arabia cattle there? 100 head, 514-pound steer calves, bring $208. Not program cattle, just fancy, honest cattle there. And then on some 6-weight steers, be your Zach Tran top quote for the day. 188 head of steers, L Cross cattle, weight 608, 183.75. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.